Hello and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to talk trash, which is what happens to the stuff we don't want anymore and what we can do to make it a little more useful to people and a little more green. My guest is Jim Williams. Welcome back, Jim.
All right, thank you.
Many people will know you as the longtime extension agent in the city, but since you've been retired, you're an active volunteer with Clean City.
Correct.
And this has been a passion of yours for a while, this recycling. You helped start some of these programs. What happens to stuff that I throw away?
A lot of different things. Hampton has what is called a single stream recycling program, and so we put it in the bins or in the canister. Well, it used to be a little small bin.
Yeah, now it's a big bin. I fill mine up too,
the big
I'll
canister
tell you.
or the carry toter. And that goes to a place called, it used to be called Materials Recycling or Recovery Facility. It's Tidewater Fiber. And there it's sorted and kind of separate, paper is separated from the glass products, or glass is separated from plastic. And then from there, it kind of follows a different stream, right? Because some people, maybe someone wants to buy glass, maybe someone wants to buy plastic. Let's say, for instance, with the plastic, oftentimes it's remade into clothes.
Mm-hmm. I know, I can't believe
it could be made into the carpet on the floor here could very well have been made from plastic, or at least in part from plastic. So any number of things happen. And so the drinking bottles that we use now, that we get water in, much of that oftentimes is made from recycled plastic, but they can only use it a certain number of times, right?
So essentially, one option is you throw everything in the trash or the dumpster, and it all gets taken to a landfill, or in Hampton, more likely burned. But if there are different things you can target to different reuse areas or recycle, you can save the earth. And the city does make up some of that money. If we say, if they sell the glass, then that is tax money that doesn't have to be used for disposal. So it doesn't quite pay for itself, recycling, in terms of the city yet, but it does help. So we're going to talk about your tour de trash, which is how you can see what goes and happens to all the different things, but also how you can get rid of them in a more responsible way.
Okay, very good.
So we've talked about what can go in the recycling bin, and that is, help me now.
Well, I think and I heard the guy who runs the Tidewater fiber facility in Hampton, at least at that time he was doing it, and he said, when in doubt, just kind of put it in, and they will do the separating. So if there's someone who's listening and they really don't know what goes in, you can call to 311. And they should be able to tell you.
And it is on the website, the Public Works website.
That's right.
Clean City's website.
You can get in touch with Clean City Commission and or go online sometimes to
but in general,
find a
paper, cardboard,
plastic.
Plastics 1 and 2.
That's
glass.
Right. Yeah.
Aluminum, steel. Soup cans.
Pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything. And
not pizza boxes with big old grease spots. You don't want any food or grease in there.
None
I think
of that.
That's one of the big things.
That is correct. No coat hangers either. So sometimes people may think coat hangers. Some cleaners.
Now, see, I recycle those when I recycle my clothes to the Goodwill.
Yeah, and I think dry cleaners or Goodwill or whatever will accept those, but not in the carrier or the toter.
Okay, so while we're talking about Goodwill, until you came in here, I was not thinking of them entirely as a recycler, but they are. Goodwill and many of the other service organizations that run thrift store type places. So first of all, it's a reuse, right? You could resell your clothing to someone who needs it, but if they determine it's not sellable, what happens to it?
Well, they sell it. And so with recycling, and it's important, I think, to say this, as you know, it's reduce, reuse, recycle. And so we reduce it by not buying as much, maybe reduce our consumption. We reuse it if we go to a place like Goodwill or some of the thrift stores or whatever they may be. We're reusing something that someone else had.
We've gained some weight, but it's a lovely dress. Someone else can wear it.
That's
or
right.
we've lost some weight. That would be better news, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, see, I get rid of mine because I haven't gained weight, but my clothes shrink.
That's right. And we'll find someone smaller who can wear that
smaller.
suit.
So, and then the recycling, you can just give it to someone else. But what happens is that if you go to Goodwill or any of the other places, if they have clothes that they can't sell for whatever reasons, maybe the conditions are not good or they've been ripped or torn too much, they will actually bundle those clothes and sell them to, and I've heard that they sell them to China. They may sell them to India. I'm not exactly sure where, but to different places. So they will get a contract then and just bundle them and sell them. So pretty much
And then you have
anything
cotton
that someone
fibers
has,
or whatever that can be broken down and made into
or they
something
shred
new.
it,
Shred
and,
it, yeah.
and remake it. So I think it's important for people to know that whatever it is that they have, don't just think that you have to throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
You can get rid of it, give it to them, and they will either sell it and further their mission or their work, or they recycle it, just sell it to someone else, right? So they'll sell it to the customer, or they'll sell it to someone maybe in a foreign country.
So you're still, even if it's a T-shirt that nobody might choose to wear anymore because it's got a stain or a big rip on it, it's still not going into the landfill. It's still being used somehow, which I did not know that. That is a really cool thing.
That's correct. And they've been doing that now because I first learned about that quite a few years ago.
Okay.
So I think they've been doing it for quite a while. Yeah. And as you may well imagine, there are markets for almost everything.
Right, right. Okay, so another issue that comes up pretty frequently is electronics. Mm-hmm. You literally are not supposed to send those to the landfill. What do you do when you have an old computer, which probably a lot of folks have?
Okay. Every now and then, Hampton will have the city will sponsor, I think Coliseum Central will sponsor a kind of a take-back day for electronic products. But there is a group in Hampton, a company, place, and it's called Versability. It's formerly the ARC of the Peninsula. And you can take the computers there, your computers, and they actually break the computers down, strip them, and remove certain parts. And they just kind of parse them out, and then they sell those. So I think that's an excellent thing to do with the
that's what I did with my last computer, and I think there was a small fee associated with it. And you're right, if you go to those drop-offs, you can avoid the fee, but then they employ people who usually have mentally handicapped or whatever, and it's a good employment resource, and they make a little money back on selling the pieces that are sellable, and you keep the things that shouldn't be in the landfill because they're toxic or shouldn't be burned in our trash to steam plant, and out of that.
Right. That's correct. And you mentioned the steam plant because a lot of people don't know that the household garbage in Hampton is burned at the steam plant. And in addition to that, maybe a little bit of other stuff. But most people in Hampton don't know that. They think it all goes to the landfill, but it doesn't.
And usually it's like refrigerators, couches, large items that go to the landfill.
Yeah, and we're trying to, and then bulk trash. Bulk trash goes to the landfill and trash from other localities around, but anything that we can do to reduce the pressure on the landfill or to extend the lifespan of the landfill is going to be critical.
Because think what the process is going to be to find another place for a landfill in Hampton or in Hampton Roads. We're running out of land, and we would rather have more fun things on it than a dump. It's not a great land use if we can keep that one alive for much longer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know in Hampton, and it's going to be someone's dilemma, but last week I think they were talking about the lack of developable land and not having enough of. There was an article in the paper about that. Well, the landfill is going to take a lot of space, and so I don't know where they're going to go.
Now, what about yard waste?
Yard waste, just put it in the plastic bags, clear plastic bags, put those beside the highway, and this is the time of year we'll get the leaves.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to put those in clear plastic bags, put them beside the street, and then the truck will collect them and take them to the yard waste recycling facility. There is a little space right in front of the landfill that they drop the bags off. Then those bags are picked up and taken to York County, wherein the leaves are actually composted. And you can go there, citizens or people can go there and buy back either the mulch or the compost, because they make mulch out of some of it, but that which is not used for mulch then is composted over time, and it's hot composting, so it tends to take out most of the diseases or
And the
weeds
seeds,
or whatever.
keeps it from
Hopefully it does. And you can go there on a cool day and you can see steam rising up from it. Yeah.
So if you, and this is one of those things I'm not sure people understand, if you put your leaves in a black plastic bag, Public Works doesn't know they're leaves. So they're going to put them in the bulk trash. You're going to take up room in the landfill when you could have been instead providing compost for your neighbors or mulch.
That's correct.
Which, then it reuses instead of wastes things in the land.
That's correct. And I think it's important also to mention that if someone has a yard, I, for instance, take as much stuff as I can, trimmings, yard clippings, whatever, into the back of my yard and put it in, my own recycling bin. And I recycle it there. So homeowners can do that. And then you're reducing pressure even more so, because you're doing your own compost or mulch and you can use it in your yard. So you never really have to go anywhere else to get it.
Right, and particularly with food scraps, because non-meat, but other food scraps.
Yeah,
if you can compost those, then you're keeping that out of the trash plant, you're keeping it out of the landfill, and you're helping your own garden.
That's it. You do that, and I do that, and then I also have some worms, and it's kind of like vermicomposting,
My mom used to have
right?
worms.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet.
You can do that if you want to. Now, they need to be taken care of, with a bit of
you need to
tenderness.
keep them from freezing, right?
Yeah, but it's easy enough to do that. And so with the vegetable trimmings or scraps or whatever, you just put that in for the worms and take it to the backyard compost.
So all these things that we think of as trash that we're getting rid of, there are ways for almost everything to reuse or recycle them.
Sure.
And you guys, Clean City Commission and HR Green and some other organizations, have this periodic event you call Tour de Trash.
Right.
Tell us, why that's a cool thing. Why would I want to go learn about trash?
Okay. First, just a bit of history on that. We started it. We began by doing a training class. It was a couple of days. The first one that we did, it was at Fort Monroe when that was up and running in full speed. We did 2 days worth of just kind of theoretical stuff on garbage and trash and all of that, just to hear people say or to talk about many of the things we've been talking about today, but to talk about what really happens to the garbage. And then as a part of that, when we were meeting at, I think somewhere during that period, someone said, and I think it was either Shore Copper or Debbie, said, well, it would be good to have like a tour, in an essence, or sense, a lab to go along with it, just to kind of show people or let people see what it is that we're talking about. So we decided to do that, and then someone came up with a name, and again, I think that's where it was either Cheryl or Debbie that said, well, what about Tour de Trash? Kind of like a play on Tour de France, right? So we decided to do that, and ever since we did that, it was probably about 1993. But it's been quite successful. And the intent is just to show people, it's almost like a show and tell, but it's showing people what really happens to the garbage or to the trash, to the recyclables, from the time that they put it beside the street until the time that it's finished being processed, right? So you can see the leaves when you put them beside your yard, but you can also see the leaves when you put them beside the street, but you can see them after they have become compost, right? So that lets you know what will happen. I will say to homeowners, if you have grass clippings, leave them on the yard.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Nobody does that. Of course, you also have to mow often enough that you don't have those giant clumps.
That's true.
Which I've been guilty of from time to time. But as long as you can spread it out, it is good for the grass. And it reduces your need to buy fertilizer, so you save money, and it's better for the bed.
It returns nitrogen to the soil soil. And a mulching mower helps sometimes, or mulching blade on a regular mower will help. But so back to Tour de Trash. So we just decided to do that just to help people see what really goes on. And so as a part of the tour, we go to the yard waste holding facility. We go to the landfill. Then we go over to York County to the composting facility. We usually come back into Hampton and go to the waste to energy facility or the steam plant.
Right.
And then from there, Branscom's has been a part of it to see what they do in the way of recycling concrete or asphalt. We go to Versability, the ARC, and then
And you might go to
Goodwill,
Tidewater Fiber or Goodwill.
Tidewater Fiber, thank you. Tidewater Fiber to see what really, all of the bottles and cans and all what happens to that. And then probably Goodwill will be added to the tour.
Okay, so we're going to
it's in kind of like a state of flux. So
yeah, it changes each
not
time. Maybe it's a
stagnant,
little
yes.
bit different. You see new things. And hopefully it will increase people's commitment toward recycling and reusing things. And it's just cool to watch.
That's correct.
So,
Yeah, very good.
all right.
It
And
is.
that happens, generally speaking, twice a year, usually in the fall and usually sometime around Earth Day in the spring.
Around Earth Day in the spring, and then around America Recycles Day in the fall. It may be kind of like target date, so give or take a week or
Give
a few
or take.
days.
And we'll
Yeah.
post the details on the screen of the one that's
Okay.
coming up next so
Very
people
good.
can sign up for it. And I will say, sometimes this, not sometimes, often, this tour, it's one bus load and it fills up. So
Right.
people do need to register and plan ahead a little bit.
Yeah, but I say to people, do it, if at all possible.
Do
Just
it. Take
kind
your
of-
kid too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really educational thing, and kids often very much are concerned about the environment, and it's a way for them to learn and to help grow up a little bit more aware and a little bit more involved.
Yeah, and it starts at 9, usually about 9 in the morning, and it's over by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. We say 3 o'clock, but I think usually it's over before 3.
Okay.
So I encourage people to do it. It's really a learning experience, a tremendous learning experience.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thanks, Jim. Thanks for coming by.
thanks for having
and,
me.
I know my son has been on the Tour de Trash. I haven't, although I've toured the steam plant. But, it's a cool thing for all of us to
Yes.
learn a little bit more about what happens to the stuff that we get rid of and how we can do that a little bit more responsibly so that it helps out our community and our earth. I hope you will enjoy the Tour de Trash, and thank you for watching.